In 2026, hair is no longer just something you maintain, it becomes one of the easiest ways to rewrite your story after 50. Your life may be calmer, your priorities clearer, but your hair can still carry sharp lines, harsh color, or habits that belong to a busier, younger version of you. This new season is about cuts, colors, and styling rituals that respect a mature face, a real schedule, and a softer kind of confidence while still feeling fresh and modern. With that spirit in mind, we can move into the first part of the journey and explore the smart 2026 cuts that truly flatter women over 50 before layering color, styling, texture care, and your own signature touches on top. Short and medium cuts for the year 2026 are becoming much smarter about the needs of a mature face instead of just repeating the trends of younger women. I see three main groups of shapes that work well after 50. The first group is short hair that stays soft at the edges, for example a chin length or slightly longer bob with light layers around the cheeks and jaw, so the face looks lifted instead of pulled down by weight. The second group is the collarbone and shoulder length shapes that many of us love because they can still be tucked behind the ear or gathered into a small clip yet do not sit like a heavy blanket on the chest. The third group is long hair that has been opened up with airy layers, so it moves rather than hanging in one flat sheet. When I look back over a typical month in the salon, out of 10 women over 50 who ask for a change, about 6 are simply updating an old cut they chose many years ago, and the biggest shift for them is removing a little length and adding structure near the cheekbones. You can stand in front of the mirror and ask yourself whether your current length is helping your posture and your presence, or quietly pulling your features downward. Once the overall shape feels right, the next powerful decision for the year 2026 is color. Instead of harsh extremes, many clients now choose soft dimensional tones that respect both their skin and their silver. Warm browns with a gentle caramel sheen, cool beige shades close to natural gray, and controlled copper or wine tones can all bring life back to the face without shouting. In my own notes from the last year, about 7 out of 10 women over 50 who changed their color did not go several levels lighter, they simply added dimension through fine highlights around the face or lowlights to break up a solid block of dye. If you place a white towel around your shoulders at home, and compare how your skin looks next to very warm clothing versus cooler grays, you quickly see whether your best hair shade for this new year should lean warm or cool. Once cut and color are aligned, everyday styling is what decides whether your hair feels like a real part of your life or something that only works on salon day. I encourage my clients to build one realistic morning routine that takes between 10 and 15 minutes and does not require many tools. That might be a soft side part with loose bends, or a smooth blow dry at the roots with the ends left slightly natural, or a simple low twist with a few gentle pieces left around the face. Many women in their 50s recognize that hair which asks for 40 minutes will end up in a clip most days, so the goal is ease, not perfection. After we simplify styling, the next layer for 2026 is texture and health. Instead of fighting natural curls or waves with constant heat, more and more women in their 50s and 60s are choosing cuts and products that make their own texture look intentional. I had a small group of clients in their early 60s who agreed to one deep conditioning treatment each week and a trim every 8 weeks, and within 3 months their hair had more shine, more bounce, and fewer broken ends, even though the overall styles stayed almost the same. You can think of this as building the foundation of a house, because no trendy cut or color will look expensive on hair that is dry, dull, or frayed. Finally, once the hair is shaped, colored, and healthy, accessories and a personal signature look are what make the year 2026 feel like your year. Many women over 50 are rediscovering padded headbands in soft fabrics, slim metallic clips that sit low near the ear, or patterned scarves used to hold a low bun. And what matters most is that each piece feels like it belongs with the clothes already hanging in the closet. You can choose one cut, one color direction, one easy styling habit, and one accessory that you truly enjoy, and let that combination quietly become your own hair code for this stage of life. In 2026, the most flattering hair colors for women over 50 are not about hiding gray at all, but about making your skin look softer and your natural silver look more expensive. The first group is warm neutrals with soft dimension, gentle shades of brown, beige, caramel, and mocha that sit between too dark and too bright. On mature skin, these tones act like a soft filter. They blur fine lines around the eyes and mouth instead of sharpening them the way inky black or very ashy blonde can do. In one salon's survey I worked with, about 6 out of 10 women over 50 who shifted from solid dark dye to a warm brown with fine highlights around the face said their skin looked brighter and their eyes less tired even before makeup. You can test this at home by draping a warm tan or caramel scarf over your shoulders and noticing whether your face suddenly looks calmer and more alive. The second group is silver and soft metallics for women who are ready to work with their natural gray. Here the goal is not a harsh icy white, but a clear reflective silver that looks intentional. That means keeping yellow tones under control and adding very fine lowlights and highlights so the hair has depth instead of looking flat. I remember my own stage in my early 60s, when my gray around the hairline had turned slightly yellow and made me look as if I had just come back from harsh sun every day. Once my colorist added a few cool lowlights and some brighter pieces around the crown, the whole head of hair looked cleaner and more dimensional. The gray became a feature rather than a problem, and the skin around my forehead looked clearer. Many clients in their late 50s and 60s like this approach because they feel they are no longer fighting time, they are polishing what is already there. If you are moving from years of dark dye into gray, asking your stylist to break up the old color with very fine highlights and lowlights is often kinder to both your hair and your emotions than one extreme bleach session. The third group is controlled spice and red tones, soft copper and red browns that give warmth without sliding into shades that make the skin look ruddy. Instead of bright red that can turn sallow under indoor light, these modern spice colors sit closer to cinnamon and soft wine, so they add life and personality while still feeling elegant. I had a client around 60 who had dyed her hair black for years and always felt her face looked heavy. When she finally moved to a cool brown with a hint of copper around the face, the contrast between her hair and her skin eased. Her neck and jawline no longer looked chopped in two by the color line, and she told me that for the first time in a decade she could walk past a mirror without flinching. As you think about color for 2026, it helps to ask yourself whether you want your hair to behave like a shadow that hides everything or like a source of light that gently reflects onto your skin. Once you find a tone that makes your complexion look clearer and your gray look deliberate, the natural next step is to look at how you cut and style that hair every day so the color, the shape, and your lifestyle all work together instead of pulling in different directions. Styling in 2026 for women over 50 is all about looks that fit into a real morning, not a magazine photo shoot. So I like to build one simple routine that takes around 10 to 15 minutes and respects the health of your hair. Instead of layering on heavy products that leave curls stiff or roots greasy, I reach for one light but effective styling cream or foam that adds slip and softness without weight, then if needed a touch of flexible hold at the very end. And I keep heat on the lowest setting that still does the job so that the cuticle stays smooth over time. The goal is to let your natural texture do most of the work, whether that is soft waves, defined curls, or a gentle bend. Because at this stage of life, constantly forcing the hair to be something it is not often makes us look more tired rather than more polished. When I look at my own mornings, I know I will not spend half an hour with a curling iron, so I build my look around one signature style that I can repeat without thinking. For example, a soft side part with loose waves through the mid-lengths or a low bun at the nape with a few curls left out around the face to keep everything from looking too severe. In my client notes from the last year, about 7 in 10 women over 50 who felt overwhelmed by styling finally relaxed once they chose one or two go-to looks and stopped chasing a new technique every week. You can stand in front of the mirror and quietly notice which simple shape makes you feel most like yourself on a work day, on a casual day at home, and on a dinner out, and let those become your personal codes instead of trying to copy every trend you see online. For women who still enjoy a bit of play, 2026 takes some of the styling ideas from the previous year, such as braids, ponytails, and wavy shags, and strips them down into versions that a pair of mature hands can do quickly. A loose side braid tucked into a low bun, a high ponytail with just enough lift at the crown, or a very soft wavy shag effect created by scrunching in product and bending only a few sections with heat, can add interest without demanding perfect arms and a long attention span. I often tell my clients that if a style cannot survive a busy morning and a real day of movement, it is not a style for us. So the point of styling in this new year is not to chase perfection, but to create a handful of repeatable looks that make your cut and color feel intentional, modern, and kind to both your schedule and your hair. In 2026, the most beautiful hair is not the hair that fights its texture, but the hair that works with it. So the first step is to honor what you naturally have, whether it is straight, softly wavy, curly, or silver. If your hair is straight, a collarbone length cut with long soft layers, and a gentle side part can keep it from hanging like a curtain, and give just enough movement to feel modern. While women with a natural wave often look fantastic in a shoulder-length cut with light layering and a little lift at the crown so the wave pattern can show without turning into frizz. For curls and coils, a rounded shape with careful layering around the cheekbones, and the crown lets the texture build upward instead of outward, which keeps the silhouette fresh and intentional, and looks especially lovely when some silver strands are starting to show. On naturally gray hair, even if it is mostly straight, a few face framing layers and a thoughtful part can turn what used to feel like a flat sheet of silver into a soft frame for the eyes and the smile. Behind all of these shapes, there is one reality that many of us see after 50. The individual strands become finer, the overall density often decreases, and the hair can feel more dry and more fragile than it did in our 30s. That is why a healthy base matters more than any trend. Trimming away damaged ends every 6 to 8 weeks, using deep moisture once a week, and protecting color and gray from harsh heat and sun can change the way the same haircut sits on your head. I had one client in her late 50s who insisted on keeping her hair past her shoulders, even though the last 10 centimeters were thin and frayed. When she finally agreed to cut just 5 centimeters and to commit to 3 months of regular conditioning and gentle styling, we did not change the basic shape at all, but her hair suddenly looked fuller, shinier, and far more luxurious, like the expensive version of the same style. Another woman in her early 60s with naturally wavy gray hair stopped straightening it every day and focused instead on moisture and a soft layered cut that suited the wave. Within a season, her friends were asking whether she had added extensions, because the hair looked so much more alive even though the length was slightly shorter. You can stand in front of the mirror and quietly ask yourself whether your current style is showing off the best of your texture or exposing every sign of dryness and thinning, and whether taking a little length off and feeding the hair for a few months might actually make you look more youthful than clinging to every centimeter. When texture is respected and the health of the hair is rebuilt, any trend for 2026 sits better on the head. And that is the perfect moment to start thinking about the final layer of your look, the small accessories and personal touches that turn a good cut and color into a signature style that really feels like you. Accessories and a clear signature look are what turn a good haircut into something that truly feels like yours in 2026, especially for women over 50 who want polish without looking overdone. Instead of the tiny glitter clips we used years ago or oversized novelty pieces that can feel out of place on a mature face, this new wave of accessories is about thoughtful materials and proportions. A smooth metal barrette in silver or soft gold, a padded headband covered in velvet or cotton, a simple scrunchie in satin, or a lightweight scarf in a color that already exists in your wardrobe can add interest without stealing the whole show. When I work with clients, I often steer them toward fabrics that feel grown up on the skin, such as velvet, silk blend, or matte metal, and toward colors that echo what they actually wear most often, maybe navy, soft beige, deep green, or wine red, rather than picking something that only looks good in a store display. The idea is modern and intentional, never costume. From there, it is very powerful to think about how your hair connects to the clothes on your hangers. A sharp short cut, like a soft pixie or a tidy bob, looks incredibly current next to a structured blazer, a crisp shirt, and straight-leg trousers, and it sends a message of clarity and purpose. Longer hair with more movement, especially if it has layers and a bit of wave, harmonizes beautifully with cardigans, maxi dresses, and softer silhouettes that move when you walk, and this combination lets you lean into a relaxed but still polished boho side. Bright clean silver hair or well-blended gray looks stunning with eyeglass frames in cool tones and with silver tone jewelry near the face, because the metal echoes the hair and creates a subtle frame around your features. If you prefer warmer browns or caramel colors, warm gold jewelry and earth-toned fabrics will often feel more at home. You can stand in front of your closet and ask yourself which outfits make you feel the most like yourself, and then imagine which hair shape and which accessory would make that outfit look complete. To make things simple for this new year, I like to invite women to create a personal hair code 2026. That means choosing one haircut that fits your face and lifestyle, one color direction that flatters your skin and your gray, one everyday styling pattern that you can realistically maintain, and one accessory that feels like a small signature, maybe a slim metallic clip you wear on most workdays or a specific scarf you love for weekends. When you put those 4 choices together, you no longer feel lost in a sea of trends. You have a clear visual identity that can quietly follow you from the grocery store to dinner with friends. Over time, you can refine that code, but even starting with this simple exercise helps you move from random experiments to a look that truly belongs to you. 2026 is not just another year of new hair trends. It is a chance to quietly rewrite how you show up in the world through your hair, with smart shapes that respect a mature face, colors that soften and brighten the skin, and styling habits that actually fit the life you live now, instead of the life you had 20 years ago. The focus is simple form that makes sense on your features, tones that work with your natural gray and your complexion, and everyday routines that are gentle on your hair and realistic for your energy and schedule. Over the next 30 days, you can choose one small change to commit to, maybe adjusting your length, softening or warming your color, shifting your part to a more flattering place, or adding one accessory that feels like a personal signature, and letting that become part of your hair code for 2026. Notice how that one decision affects the way you carry yourself, the way you dress, and the way you feel when you catch your reflection. If this guide gave you ideas for your next hair chapter, share in the comments which style or change you are leaning toward, and feel free to suggest what you would like to explore next, such as gray hair styling, outfit pairing for your new cut, or seasonal hair care for women over 50. Remember to like, share, and subscribe so you can keep collecting calm, practical inspiration for hair that truly matches the woman you are today.